Batcullen Cave, a dive into darkness. June 15, 2002. Florida's summer sun was scorching, beating down on the quiet entrance of Batcullen Cave. The stillness outside gave no hint of the chaos that was about to unfold below the surface. Standing at the water's edge was 26-year-old Mark Allure, adjusting his diving mask, mentally preparing for what he thought would be a thrilling exploration with 3 of his friends. These 4 weren't complete novices. All of them were certified open-water divers. They'd been through standard scuba training and felt right at home, exploring oceans, lakes, even deep quarries. But what they didn't realize, what they hadn't been trained for, was that cave diving isn't just another level. It's an entirely different universe, a place where the rules are unforgiving, the risks are multiplied, and one wrong move can be the last. The allure of the Florida Panhandle was strong. The springs there are famous for their clarity, crystal blue waters revealing intricate, ancient limestone cave systems. For many divers, it's a bucket list destination, but the legends of beauty come with buried warnings. Since the 1960s, nearly 500 divers had vanished inside underwater caves across Florida, Mexico, and the Caribbean. And until that day in June 2002, only 3 had ever made it out alive. Mark and his friends didn't know those odds. If they did, maybe they thought they'd be the exception. But the real problem wasn't confidence, it was gear and training. They had tanks, masks, fins, and regulators. But cave diving demands more. Redundant air systems, specialized ultra-bright lighting, guideline reels that aren't just helpful, they're lifelines. Their only guide was a single rope, just one. And in cave diving, that rope isn't a backup plan. It's the literal line between life and death. The water looked so peaceful, impossibly clear. Light from the entrance danced down into the depths, illuminating massive rock formations that looked like a cathedral carved by time itself. It felt welcoming, magical even. And that's how these caves get you. Mark took a deep breath and descended. At first, it was everything they'd hoped for. Towering stone arches, pillars rising like ancient ruins. The water temperature was a comfortable 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and everything felt under control. But every foot deeper took them further from natural light. And once that light disappeared, so did the illusion of safety. As they continued, the space narrowed. The water turned darker. Every inch brought them closer to a zone only meant for the highly trained. Their flashlights were now their only source of vision. And that's when it happened. One wrong kick. One diver's fin grazed the cave floor. That's all it took. What had been clear, serene water instantly transformed into a terrifying underwater storm. A massive cloud of silt erupted from the cave floor, so fine, so ancient, that it stayed suspended like smoke in a closed room. Visibility dropped to 0 in seconds. They were now inside a silt-out, every diver's worst nightmare. Mark couldn't even see his hand in front of his face. No divers, no rope, no sense of direction. In the dark, underwater, disoriented, it's almost impossible for the human brain to function without visual reference. Up feels like down, left, right, forward. None of it makes sense anymore. His breathing picked up, fast, uncontrolled. Panic had kicked in, and that's when air disappears the quickest. Without cave training, the instinct is to swim, move, search, do something. But that's exactly what shouldn't happen. Mark had no guideline, no idea which way led to safety, and now no visual reference to the only exit. He swam aimlessly in the pitch-black soup, scraping along rock walls, hoping, praying to stumble into the rope or a teammate. But there was nothing. Just rock, just water, just fear. Minutes passed. His air supply was vanishing. In normal conditions, a tank lasts 45 minutes, but in panic mode, you're lucky to get 15. His gauge was already near empty, and then he remembered it. Before the chaos, they had passed through a wide chamber, one with an air pocket near the top, a space where the cave roof rose above water. Mark stopped swimming horizontally and kicked upward. One last chance. As his regulator gave out its final gasp of compressed air, his head broke the surface. He was alive, gasping, barely able to move, but alive. What he found was a tiny shelf, just big enough to haul himself out of the water. His body was wrecked from stress and effort, but he made it onto the ledge. There he sat, trapped in a tomb of silence and total darkness, with no idea if help was coming or if he'd just delayed the inevitable. Meanwhile, his friends had made it out, barely, and raised the alarm. That call triggered a response from Scott Honecker, a veteran cave diving instructor with years of experience in Florida's deadly systems. He'd done this before, too many times. And every time it was a recovery mission, not a rescue. He geared up, brought the right tools, multiple lights, redundant air, real guideline reels, and descended. Navigating with practiced ease, he reached the chamber Mark had gambled on, and there, in the dim beam of his flashlight, was Mark, still in his gear, still breathing. They stared at each other in disbelief. Neither could believe what they were seeing. Honecker handed over a spare regulator and, step by step, guided Mark out of the cave, following protocol, following the rules. The rules that would have saved Mark from all of this if they'd only been followed to begin with. Mark emerged into the Florida sun to cheers and cameras, but he wasn't celebrating. He was exhausted, hypothermic, and shell-shocked. But he had survived. He became only the fourth person ever to be rescued alive from a submerged cave after being declared missing. His survival came down to two things: luck and a single desperate decision. Crooked Swamp Cave, the trap that killed a hero, March 27, 1982. The Sparta Mountains in northern New Jersey stood quiet under a gray spring sky. It was meant to be a day of adventure. A Boy Scout expedition led by Sergeant Donald Wellner, a 48-year-old New Jersey State Police veteran, seasoned spelunker, and father of two. He had done this before, many times. 12 Boy Scouts were under his watch that day, including his own sons, Christopher, 12, and Roger, 14. They were headed into Crooked Swamp Cave, New Jersey's longest cave system. Jim Ewing, another scout leader, came along to help supervise. Everything about that day had been safe, routine, even exciting for the boys. Flashlights lit the narrow tunnels. The thrill of discovery was in the air. Wellner, cautious and experienced, was doing everything by the book, until he spotted it. A small, uncharted opening, just 18 by 20 inches wide. Too tight for most, but not for Wellner. He had seen similar passages before. These tight squeezes are often irresistible to experienced cavers. They're unexplored, untouched, virgin territory. He crawled in, stomach down, using his arms to pull forward, legs to push. That's the method. The passage angled slightly downward. It was slow going, but manageable until he hit something. A boulder, wedged tightly in the crevice. He must have thought he could shift it, maybe go around, maybe squeeze by. But the moment he tried, everything changed. That stone wasn't just any stone. It was a keystone, a trigger, an unseen structural lock. When it moved, so did the rock around it. It created a trap, a deadly one. Forward movement gave him room, but backward pressure, it tightened the trap. He was now stuck in a natural vice, a limestone Chinese finger trap, trapped underground in a space too tight to turn around, too narrow to escape backward, too deep for help to reach quickly. Wellner realized almost instantly that this wasn't just a simple snag. The cave itself had locked around him. Every small breath felt restricted, pressing his chest against the cold stone as if the cave was slowly tightening its grip. The air inside the passage was damp and metallic. carrying that unmistakable scent of disturbed rock. Dust from the shifting limestone still floated around him, settling onto his skin like a gritty reminder of how suddenly everything had gone wrong. He tried shifting an inch to the left, hoping for even the smallest amount of slack, but the stone answered with more. His sons and Jim Ewing tried everything, pulling, digging, pleading, but nothing worked. Every attempt made it worse. Finally, they made the agonizing decision to leave him and get help. Imagine what that must have felt like. Walking away from their father, knowing he was bleeding, knowing time was running out. Rescue workers arrived quickly, but they found themselves facing a nightmare. Wellner was 17 feet underground in a squeeze that punished every wrong move. Forward gave a bit of room, backward crushed him. He stayed calm for as long as he could. He talked with rescuers, explained how the trap worked. At one point, he even told them to tell his wife he'd be late getting home. That's who he was, still thinking of others. But over time, his voice faded. Coherent words turned into soft grunts, then silence. The rescue effort didn't stop. For over 80 hours, workers drilled, blasted, clawed through the stone. They refused to give up. The site turned into a disaster zone. Generators roaring, mud everywhere, tools grinding through limestone. Late Tuesday night, they broke through, but it was too late. Just 20 minutes before they reached him, Wellner had been officially pronounced dead. In truth, he had likely died sometime Sunday. His body had been in that trap, lifeless for days, while his family and rescuers fought against impossible odds. Blood was found on the stone where his head had rested. The trap that killed him was exactly as he'd described, diabolical in its geometry, a mechanism of nature, not malice. His body was taken to Newton Memorial Hospital. The official cause of death entered the records, another number, another tragedy in the long, dangerous history of cave exploration. But this wasn't just a number. This was a father, a husband, a hero. 2 stories. One ended in rescue, one in heartbreak. But both carried the same lesson. Caves do not forgive. Mark Hour's survival wasn't just a miracle, it was a warning. Without proper training and equipment, survival is a gamble. The odds, brutal. Donald Wellner had experienced training, caution, and still the cave claimed him, because sometimes, even with everything done right, nature still wins. These stories aren't just about danger, they're about humility, about understanding that the underground world doesn't care about confidence or credentials. It operates on physics, on geology, on rules that can't be negotiated. For those who enter that world, preparation isn't optional, it's everything. If you found this story gripping, intense, or even eye-opening, take a second to support more stories like this. Subscribe, like, and share if you want more chilling true tales.